Welcome. I'm Kinetic Symphony. I hunt down and report on weird and true mysterious stories, from glitches to the paranormal. Would you like even more content? Here's my Patreon. Now onto the stories. Case file number 1180, written by ATCaver, The Lake of Alchemy. I was hiking around a local lake last year. Now, this particular lake is known for its coyote population, and it's 100% legal to hunt them on public land. I had taken my rifle out to do some hunting, but decided to give it up after an hour and just take some nature-type photos. I took my rifle back to the car and ventured out with just my camera and my marine surplus K-bar strapped to my belt. I had just taken some sweet pics of a red-tailed hawk when I began to hear the bushes rustling. I turned around to watch a couple of mangy coyotes hop out of the bushes. Me, being a quick thinker, snapped a couple pics of the coyote, then dropped my camera. I held eye contact with them as I drew my K-bar in a defensive backhand grip. I knew I was probably going to die, but I wanted to show defiance in the face of death. I started whispering something about taking them with me when a rock came flying out of the stream behind me and caught one coyote right on the nose. I didn't turn around until they bolted, but I definitely heard no sounds of retreating from behind me. When the coyotes had gone, I turned around. The water was being displaced in a perfect circle in the middle of the stream. I could feel a slight change in the air. I felt that I needed to say something. I simply stated, "Well played, thanks," accompanied by a nod. I sensed some new feeling in the air and felt that the being was nodding. Suddenly, I was coming on my back next to my car after dark. I checked my camera, which was lying next to me, and there were no pictures on it at all from that afternoon. Case notes for file 1180, The Lake of Alchemy. Whatever saved you was clearly a type of guardian of the lake. I don't think of a general guardian angel that's tethered to you specifically, but something that inhabits this lake and intends to keep it as a sanctuary of sorts, of peace. And why not? We know there are areas of the world inhabited by darkness, despair. Why not some that are inhabited by benevolence, mercy, and tranquility? It's a lake of alchemy, a lake of peace, transmuting evil into good. Bonus file written by BendingBetty, The Secrets of the African Burial Site. I grew up in a haunted house. Crap only went down after my parents started digging to put in a pool. The builders unearthed an African burial site. Some other things that have happened since then. Kitchen. We'd go to bed with dishes in the sink every night. About once every 3 months, we'd wake up with the dishes in a drying rack all sparkly clean. My parents bought new cutlery twice while living there. On both occasions, we'd find all the cutlery lined up in rows on the kitchen floor. We were constantly woken by the cupboards opening and slamming shut. A few times, you'd walk into the kitchen and every single cupboard and drawer would be wide open. Passage. Every single night, you could hear 2 little girls playing outside our rooms at night. We'd hear giggles, running and skipping. The worst was the whispers, though. I don't know if they were whispering in another language, but no matter how hard you tried, you could never make out what they were saying. If anyone opened the doors, the sounds would stop instantly. Entertainment room. There was one ghost that lived in this room, and she was the first one to actually show herself to us. She was black and in her late teens. Everyone felt this intense fear when she showed herself. She was always sitting and her movements were never smooth, always jerking as if she was lagging. I had a feeling that she couldn't walk. There was so much anger and hate that came off of her. My bedroom. It was added when the pool was built. For some reason, it became the hotspot of activity. There was a man that would walk through my window, up next to my bed, and just stare at me. I would always hide under the covers. I would wake up just before he came through the window because the room would get insanely cold. I referred to him as Jesus because he looked just like the Jesus guy from Sunday school that we'd have to color in. We lived right next to the beach, so you could always hear the waves crashing. Some nights I would wake up with absolutely no sound, as if all the sound had been sucked up. It was terrifying, but would always get much worse. After about 30 seconds of the silence, a baby would start screaming. The rest of the house would slowly wake up to the crying baby, but I was the only one that ever experienced the silence before the crying started. The year before I moved out of my parents' house, I woke up when a man entered my room. I wasn't scared. He looked nothing like my father, but for some reason my brain told me it was okay. He's my dad. He won't hurt me. This guy bends over me, gets his face right up in front of mine, smiles, and then kisses me. He then says he loves me, and I have made him the proudest papa possible. My dad hasn't kissed me since I was 7, and neither me nor him have ever referred to him as papa. I had a friend and his girlfriend over. He had experienced some of the crap that had gone down in my room, and she was keen to see something because she thought it was cool. We were smoking and playing some Xbox. Suddenly, the power went out. We sat around the camera light from a phone, smoking and talking crap. My friend's girlfriend decides to say out loud, "If there really are spirits here, can't you turn the lights on?" Less than a second after she said that, my fish tank's light came on. It keeps getting brighter and brighter until the room is filled with a light so bright I had to close my eyes. There was a loud bang, and I opened my eyes to complete darkness. Friend's girlfriend got so scared she peed herself on my bed. Parents' room. Second ghost to show themselves. A young black girl in her best Sunday clothes would just stand in the corner smiling at you. She was immensely friendly, but it felt like she couldn't see you, like she was looking at something else. Her eyes and smile would be in your direction, just never felt like it was meant for you. Case notes for the bonus file. The secrets of the African burial site. Ghosts that do the dishes for you, that's oddly wholesome. The black teenage woman that you could sense had immense hatred emanating from her. I wonder how she was victimized, because that would be what would create that kind of animosity, I would guess. I would venture a guess that it's not directed towards anyone alive now. But yet, trying to contain that hatred from spilling over for centuries, it may be what is causing the desynchronicity in her appearance, the jerky or laggy movements. Oops, Dave wants in on the action. The blinding light is such a cool demonstration of the control spirits have over electronics. They can turn them off, make them flicker intermittently, or overload the circuit entirely, causing the light bulb to grow extremely bright and then pop. This proves to me that they are indeed pure energy, mostly on the EM spectrum, hence their ability to control electrons. And now time for the movie of the day, The Devil's Advocate. So let's get something clear right off the bat. The acting in this movie is beyond comparison, it's legendary. How Al Pacino didn't win an Oscar proves the whole thing is rigged even decades ago. I believe I heard, although I'm not certain it's true, Al Pacino was so disturbed by his own performance when watching the movie itself, combined with the editing and music, that he became religious after. But yes, can't blame him. Never was a better devil portrayed on screen. It's exactly what the devil is supposed to be. Peter Stormage's performance in Constantine at the end is really good too, but this one is so... it's as you think the devil would really be. Not this being of pure sadistic evil necessarily with horns and a pitchfork and like skin that's flaking away or anything like that. No, his preferred method of torture is to convince people to harm and ruin their own lives through temptation, through their own will. And then Keanu was perfectly casted too. He's got that cocky charisma and confidence that is entirely earned because he's just so freaking good and he knows it. I think this is a movie that after watching it will make you a bit more careful in life, in the choices you make, how they can affect other people and indeed how those consequences ripple back to your own life, like waves in a lake. Every choice we make pushes outward, combined with time, affecting untold people. If there's a moral to the movie, think before you act, and really think how is it going to affect me and everyone around me. But it's a great movie just in of itself, without some grand moral meaning, just enjoy it. It is creepy, unsettling. The entire movie has that vibe that keeps you on edge, but in a good way. Like the video, subscribe, hit the bell. Kinetic Symphony signing off.